Before Senegal shocked the world in 2002, before Ghana reached the World Cup quarterfinal in 2010, before Nigeria's golden generation ruled African football, there was a team many believed would become the pride of Africa. A young, fearless Zambian side that played with hunger, unity, and belief. But on the night of April 27, 1993, African football lost them forever. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Zambia was building something extraordinary. Most of the players were local talents. They were not famous in Europe, and they were not global stars, but they played like brothers. They understood each other without speaking. They ran for each other and fought for each other. In 1988, Zambia shocked the football world at the Seoul Olympics by defeating Italy 4-0. That victory was not luck. It was a sign that Zambia was rising fast in African football. By 1993, this team had matured into one of the strongest squads on the continent. They were confident, disciplined, and determined. Fans believed this team would qualify for the 1994 World Cup. The entire nation had hope. In April 1993, Zambia was scheduled to play a crucial World Cup qualifying match against Senegal in Dakar. It was a must-win game. The team boarded a military aircraft provided by the Zambian Air Force. This was normal at the time, and they had traveled like this before. The mood inside the plane was relaxed. Some players joked, some slept, and others listened to music. They had no idea this journey would be their last. Because the aircraft was not designed for long-distance travel, it had to stop several times to refuel. One of those stops was in Libreville, Gabon. Everything still seemed normal. After refueling, the plane took off again and headed over the Atlantic Ocean. Just minutes after takeoff, passengers noticed something was wrong. One of the engines had caught fire. The pilot, trying to save the plane, made a tragic mistake. He shut down the wrong engine, the one that was still working. Now the aircraft had no power. Within moments, the plane lost control, and before anyone could understand what was happening, it crashed into the Atlantic Ocean, only about 500 meters from the shore. There were no survivors. 18 players, coaches, and crew members were gone in seconds. Back in Zambia, families were waiting for news. Radios were on, and people were listening. Then the announcement came that the plane carrying the national team had crashed. At first, people refused to believe it. How could an entire team disappear like that? But as the hours passed, the truth became unavoidable. The whole country fell into deep mourning. Shops closed, streets went quiet, mothers cried and fathers sat in silence. An entire nation was heartbroken. These players were more than footballers. They were national heroes. They were sons, brothers, fathers, and role models. A golden generation erased in one night. African football had never experienced a tragedy like this. But there was one important player who was not on that flight. Kalusha Bwalya, Zambia's biggest star at the time, was playing club football in Europe and was scheduled to meet the team in Senegal. That decision saved his life. Kalusha would later say that the pain of losing his teammates never left him. Instead of giving up, he chose to lead. Most countries would have withdrawn from football for years after such a disaster, but Zambia did the opposite. Within months, a new team was formed. Unknown players, young players, and survivors came together under the leadership of Kalusha Bwalya. People did not expect anything from this team. They were simply trying to heal. But something unbelievable happened. Just 1 year after the crash, Zambia qualified for the 1994 Africa Cup of Nations. Against all expectations, they reached the final. The entire continent was shocked. How could a team rebuilt from tragedy reach the AFCON final in just 1 year? They were not playing for themselves. They were playing for the 18 brothers they lost. Although they lost the final to Nigeria, Zambia had already won something greater than a trophy. They had won respect, honor, and pride. Then came the year 2012, 19 years after the crash. The Africa Cup of Nations was hosted in Gabon, in the same city of Libreville, very close to the waters where the plane had crashed. It felt like destiny. Zambia advanced through the tournament step by step and reached the final. Zambia won the 2012 Africa Cup of Nations right there in Libreville, near the ocean that took their teammates. Players fell to the ground crying. Coaches cried. Fans cried. The whole country cried. This was not just football. This was healing. This was closure. This was history completing a painful circle. Today, a memorial stands in Gabon near the crash site as a reminder of the team Africa lost and a reminder of Zambia's strength. Because from the worst tragedy in African football came one of its most powerful stories of resilience. April 27, 1993 was the day African football lost its greatest team, but it was also the day Zambia's spirit became immortal. Their bodies were lost in the ocean, but their story will live forever in the heart of African football.